Good morning. This week is October 13th through the 16th, and there are a few things that you need to do this week. I wanted to talk to you about just some logistical stuff for a second. You guys are coming back next week, and next week when you come, I want to be at a point where we can do a project and analyze Victor Frankenstein versus his monster and how they are like foil characters of each other or doppelgangers. And so to do that, I need to make sure that you are all caught up on your work. By this time, you should have already read all the chapters in Frankenstein and answered the questions. You had that last week to do. This week, you're going to be looking at quotes. There's a quote for each chapter. So this first assignment right here is a PDF, and it has a quote from each chapter in Frankenstein. So all 13 chapters, I believe. When it will open, I will show you. And what you have to do is you have to tell who the speaker is. You have to explain what the quote is saying, okay, and what's going on with the story and why it's being said. And then you have to explain why the quote is important to the story as a whole. So why do you think that Mary Shelley included this into the story? What does it have to do with the overall idea or theme that she was trying to get to? So you have to look at the quote and say, this is the theme that I feel like this quote relates to, and this is why I believe it relates to this quote. To this theme. And then you have to say, I believe Mary Shelley was using this and like what she was trying to do with it. So like the first one says, the world was to me a secret which I desired to divine. Curiosity, earnest research to learn the hidden laws of nature, gladness akin to rapture as they were unfolded to me are among the earliest sensations I can remember. Okay, who do you think said that quote? Well, off the top of my head, I'm going to say that Victor Frankenstein said it. Why? Because I know that he desired to have knowledge of the unknown, knowledge of like what made things work, what created life, and he wanted to be able to figure that out for himself. So I would go back to chapter 2. I would try to think through what happened. Now these quotes, you have to remember, or you have to know, are from the actual version, like the original version from Mary Shelley. So some of them you will not be able to find in your reading, but you should be able to look at them and just like I did and say, okay, I know that Victor Frankenstein was this kind of person, and that's what was happening in chapter 2. So I'm assuming that he's the one that said that. So you would do what I said. You would explain, who said this. He was, yearning for knowledge of the unknown. He was yearning to, or striving to figure out how to create life. And why is this important? Well, because overall, Mary Shelley continually talks through the novel about this idea of Frankenstein's desire to play God, his desire to control nature. And that would be a theme that you would talk about. And why is this important? Well, his desire to control nature, to play God, and to create a human life force by himself, it has to do with his pride. It has to do with his selfishness too, because he ignores everybody else in his quest to make this happen, and he doesn't think it through. He doesn't think about like the consequences of his actions of altering nature. And so this quote is really important to the whole thing, because this is where it starts. And saying that kind of statement is what you would do with each of these quotes. You identify the speaker. You explain what the quote's saying and how it relates to the story as a whole. And then what theme do you feel like this quote relates to, and why? All right, so the big picture. That's what you're going to do for this assignment. All right, so I'm going to go back now. For the other couple of assignments that you have, there's not very much, but this is Who is the Monster in Frankenstein, and it's on study.com, which I have right here. All right, so you will watch this video, and it talks about the two different characters and some of their characteristics, because that's what we're going to be working with when we come back. So you watch this video, and then you take the quiz, and you're done with that. Okay, oops, wrong class. All right, and then the last thing that you have is an Edpuzzle video, and it has to do with just Victor Frankenstein. So it uses the play of Frankenstein, which I think is kind of cool, and the characters that play in the actual theater production of Frankenstein, as well as the directors, and they break down some things about Victor Frankenstein as a character. And there are some questions aligned with looking at him as a character, like his character traits and how he changes throughout the story. So do that as well. And then that is all I'm going to give you for next week. Those of you that are behind on your assignments, this coming week is your time to get caught up. You need to be caught up by the time we get to class, so that you can move forward with the rest of us. Also, please do not forget that the late deadline turn-in time is Wednesday night at midnight. So please, those of you that are doing all your check-ins but you're not doing any assignments, please take this time to get caught up on last week's work so that you don't dig a greater hole. And those of you that are caught up, congratulations, you get an easier week. So I hope this helps, and please continue to send me messages if you have questions. I'm not really hearing from a lot of you guys right now. I hope it means that you've figured out how to do this online thing and you're having an easy time with it. But I'm seeing that a lot of you guys are not turning work in. So please talk to me if you have questions. I'm happy to help. Check your email, especially check your email on Monday mornings whenever I send out an email explaining what you need to do for the week. That is really important. So if you go up to your search bar in your emails, if you go, let me see if I can show you. So go to your email here. There's no telling what's going to be in mine, so sorry. I'm going to wait just a second. Sorry for the delay. You know how the internet is here, so. Come on. Anyway, when you get to your email, it'll come up in a second when I stop talking. At the top up here where my arrow is, there's a search bar. There you go. And if you search right here for Duggins, then you'll see all the things that I've sent you. And you'll be able to find the one that is me sending you the Monday morning assignments. The rest of them are either me sending you feedback on stuff that you've turned in, or they're me telling you you need to turn in work. So I know that you get a bunch of emails from teachers all week long, but I get a bunch of emails from all 81 of my students, and it is important right now to be checking your email because you're missing some really important communication if you're not. So again, your assignments are not that much this week, but I need you to be caught up on all the stuff that you've missed or haven't turned in. So some of this is some catch-up time, review time, and I hope to see you next week in class.